Hi guys, this is Ranger Gaming. It's a brand new channel that I just started. Um, so I'm not very good at this, so I apologize if I make any mistakes ahead of time. So I picked up this game a little while ago. It's really nice. It's not a new game by any means, but I just started playing it. I like to play tycoon games and city builder games and so on and so forth. I really like this. I like trains, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Give it a shot. I learned this game by watching a few others on YouTube. Some experts, Atikin, Middle Age Gamer, so on and so forth. They don't obviously know who I am or whatever, but I just figured I'll try to play this game. I'm going to play this at hard level, Trainiac or whatever the hardest level is at every level. Going to use some of the principles that I learned from them, and you see if I can get the president's level right. I haven't debated or haven't decided whether I'm going to post every time I record, as in even if I don't achieve the medal, and then make multiple attempts at it if I can't get it the first time. But we'll see how that goes, right? So here we go. This is the first campaign. I've already played this. Chapter one, Great Plains, in hard mode. So like I said, I'm gonna go to Trainiac, right, which is I think the hardest mode in this. It's normal, Trainiac, or manual. I'm not going to do manual. I'm just going to do Trainiac. So the idea is to get President's Medal on
The
this.
rest are just gold diggers who don't have a clue about how this business works.
All right, here we go. I'm going to try to explain as I go along some of the things that I learned from watching these guys. So,
1963, on the banks of the Missouri River, the last chapter in the monumental undertaking of the Transcontinental Railroad began.
so the first chapter is always going to have a lot of voiceovers. It's kind of a pain to sit through, and it tries to teach you the game. So I'm going to try to follow as best as I can, but I'm also going to try to use some of the principles that I learned, and hopefully we'll make it in the first attempt. So
Massive challenges awaited them. Away from all civilization, the country was vast, the weather ruthless, and the challenges.
if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to forward all this. It's not. I mean, it's cool, but
Of modern engineering to be accomplished, to tame the wilderness and to conquer it with steel, fire, and steam. Never before had anything like this been ventured, but the time was ripe.
all right.
Greetings. My name is Thomas Clark Durand. Exactly, the head of Union Pacific. We will go down in history as the ones who created the Transcontinental Railroad. And that, my friend, is your job as chief engineer. I can't supervise everything here on site right now, as I have to meet with some politicians in Washington. First, you should familiarize yourself with the basic controls. Move the camera in all directions. Now test the camera's zoom function. You can also rotate the camera. Give it a try. Very good. Now you know the basic controls. Your first task is to create a rail connection between Omaha and Norfolk to the northwest. Both cities will need a station for this. You already have a station in Omaha, but you still need to build one in Norfolk. To do this, switch to building construction mode.
All right, so I'm going to delete what they have. They give you oddly placed stations. Again, this is something that I learned from others playing, watching others play. So we just build our own stations. So you can rotate by pressing the shift key and then the mouse wheel. You can rotate the station, and I'm going to place it right about there in Omaha, and then that's a small train station, and then we'll also do the same thing here. Now obviously you want to place the building towards the center of the city so that you can grow out if you need to. I'm going to place one on the top side because we
Very
might be
good.
building more stations
Now
later.
the two stations need to be connected with tracks. To do this, switch to track construction mode. Now plan the tracks between the stations in Norfolk and Omaha. To do this, select the two station tracks one after the other. Then pay for your track planning.
So obviously in rail construction you want the slope to be minimal, to get the fastest speed out of the train. So as you can see, the slope here is 0. You just click on one end and click on the other end in track mode. It's going to cost us about 59,000. So it's a 0 slope. That's not too bad. So we'll just hit pay and
Now
build.
create your first train so that you can set up a rail line between your stations.
All right. So typically you would double track it, or you would put a siding or a bypass lane. But obviously, if you're doing the tutorial mode, which is chapter 1, so
Initially, your
we
train
just do what
only
they ask.
exists on paper. It's not much use to you without a locomotive.
All right, so we click the line first. You click on one station and then the other, and then you select the save. Now you can optimize this later, but for now we just need an automatic train. So we just say OK. We'll add a locomotive. The Philadelphia is the only one we have right now, so here we go. All right, so you can
Very
see
good.
it's
Now you
loading.
can see the journey your train will take. If there is something to transport, the train will automatically take it.
All right, so the train is filled with meat, and it's moving it to Norfolk, right? So again, one of the things I learned when I was watching other play is,
However, as each locomotive needs water, sand, and lubricant on its journey, you have to place a supply tower along the route.
yeah, sorry about that, but basically what you have to do is place a supply tower here, right where it says.
Very good. Your train is now traveling between Omaha and Norfolk. But you can do even more. Each city needs goods from the surrounding area. For example, every city needs corn. Look, there is a corn farm near Omaha. Until now, the corn has made it to the city in the conventional way, but we want to change that.
The
Now
conventional way is
construct
obviously.
a rural train station in the marked location with a corn farm within its radius.
All right, the conventional way is obviously by cart. So we're going to build a train station
Now
here.
connect the new rural train station to the station in Omaha.
All right, so again, I wouldn't do this normally, but for the sake of the tutorial, let's just do exactly as they say. So we'll just build another track from here to here. All right, pretty good. 0 slope, 40,000.
And
We'll
now
just say
things
yes.
are getting tricky as we have to deal with a logistical problem. As Norfolk should also enjoy fresh corn, there will soon be 2 trains traveling on the stretch of track between Omaha and Norfolk. Of course, this will then result in a conflict. Since trains cannot travel through each other, you'll need a sidetrack between Omaha and Norfolk. This consists of 1 parallel track and 2 signals. First, create
Alright.
a sidetrack. It needs to be at least long enough for a fully loaded train.
Okay, so we'll just build a track from here to here, and then connect it right there, and then, oh, you know what, sorry. So we'll start from here, pull the track on the side, and go all the way down, and then pull it back onto the main track, right? So that should do it.
Excellent. However, your trains won't necessarily use the sidetrack, as they generally always take the shortest route. For this reason, you also have to specify the direction of travel on each parallel track. Now open building construction mode and set up a signal in the highlighted area pointing in the direction of the switch. Trains will then be able to stop here when the single track is in use.
All right, so what we'll do then is we'll do the right side, the right lane to go to Norfolk, and the left lane to come back to Omaha, right? So right lane to go to Norfolk. So the left lane to Omaha, so we'll have to reverse it. So it gives you directions on how to do that. So you press shift and then the mouse wheel to change direction. And now
Excellent.
you have a track
Now
that
do the
says
same
going
on
this
the
way.
parallel track so that each parallel track has a different direction. Place a second signal in the highlighted area and block the track to trains coming from the opposite direction. Very good. I'm sure that wasn't at all easy. You will soon come to realize that signals are an important aid in guaranteeing smooth. rail operations. You will find more information and tips under Hints and Tips.
All right. If you can shut up for a while, let's move. Okay. So,
Now assemble a new train and give it a locomotive and a rail line. Your new rail line should run via Omaha to Norfolk so that the people of Norfolk can be supplied with corn.
all right. So we'll just build a new rail line from here through Omaha to Norfolk, and then on the way back, obviously you want to, let it do some work, right? It's going to pick up corn, but then you can bring back. Now, if you do freight only, it's not going to pick anything up, so it doesn't really matter. If you directly come back to Evans Farm, it's going to go through Norfolk, but it's going to skip stopping at Omaha. I'm sorry, and it's just going to go straight to Evans Farm. Okay, so we'll do freight only. So you can customize what type of traffic you want. You can make it manual, means you select it for every journey, but then freight only means it will only carry freight, and then passengers and mail is only passengers and mail, and that's typically between cities, right? This is a farm, so it's going to carry freight. So let's just do that, and then we'll add a locomotive.
The corn farm will automatically make use of your train because the cities along your rail line are demanding corn. Conventional transportation is much more costly for the farm. We're still missing something. Locomotives wear out over time and need to be regularly maintained so they can perform their duties more reliably. For this purpose, there needs to be at least one maintenance building on each rail line where locomotives can be serviced if necessary. Construct such a maintenance building at your station in Omaha now. To do this, select the station itself and expand the station with this building.
All right, so you select the station, and right here you click construct. What this does is after every journey, the engine and the train essentially gets serviced. Right, it costs 80,000.
Right.
So
we've been lollygagging
all right.
for long enough. I need to return to Washington for further miserable negotiations with our representatives of the people. I've written a task list for you. Take a look at it and complete the tasks within the given time period. Do not disappoint me.
Okay. Bye bye. All right, so here we go. So we have a few tasks, right? These are the tasks that we need for this mission. So it says first task. They're all organized by date. So you want to do the quickest ones soon, obviously, right? Omaha and North Platte, Omaha and Cheyenne. All right. So the first now you don't need to draw a straight line from Omaha to North Platte or Cheyenne. What you can do is just build a train station and connect it to the network, and that'll do just fine. So we'll do, in this case though, because it's a city, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a second train station here, and we can run passenger and mail lines and actually make some money, right? So I'm going to do that, and then we'll run a straight shot across this way. Now obviously it's red, it's telling you that something's going on. So if you look here, you're actually crossing a couple of farms. So we'll pull that down, and we'll pull this down, and I think that should, oh, there's another one here, so we can go up like that. So 1% slope is perfectly fine. I mean, you can play with it and see if you can get it to 0, but 1 is fine. All right, so this is 144,000.
That's finished. You're making progress.
Right, and then you can see there's a connection bonus, right? So it behooves us to connect this ASAP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another station here, and then you take this, and then you basically now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build another. See, you can expand the platform. You don't want to connect it to the same one, because then you'll have conflict with trains. So the easiest thing to do is actually build another platform here. It's cheaper, build another train station. If you expand the platform, this is what happens, right? So if you expand the platform, it's 60,000. It's actually cheaper to build a second train station, right? So we'll just do that. So you can see the buildings are, the station is actually facing the inside of the city, which means you can expand out the number of tracks, right? All right, so let's do that. Okay, so now we have a connection bonus. We have 550,000, which is awesome, right? And we've connected both, right? Yellow check marks are good. Yellow check mark means you're ahead of schedule, on the way to presidents.
As you can see, Cheyenne is still a little town hoping for an upswing caused by the railroad connection, but a city will only attract new inhabitants if it is supplied with enough goods.
All right.
Cities receive basic goods from the surrounding area. If you construct stations in the right places and establish rail lines, your trains will be used to transport goods and you will make profits for transportation. But for this, you have to know what goods a city actually needs. You can find out any city's current needs. Now select Cheyenne and view the city's demand for goods.
Okay.
As you can
So
see, Cheyenne currently needs only a handful of goods, and you can only deliver goods that are in demand. As the city grows, it will demand further goods. At the moment, you can supply grain and wood. Both of these goods are available to the north of Cheyenne. Connect Cheyenne to a timber business and a wheat farm, and establish a new rail line that connects them both to Cheyenne.
all right, I made a mistake here. So like I said, expanding the station is always more expensive. So for now, to conserve money, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another station down here, and then I'm going to destroy this track. So you want to destroy a part of the track is basically you click shift and then you click on the track, right? You see that little dot that it makes. If you don't, it deletes the whole thing. If you click that dot, it'll put a dot there, and now it'll allow you to delete just that part of it, right? So now what I can do is I can build to this track, and I'll tell you why in a minute, because I want to connect this station to these two because it's part of our goal, right? So now let's build a station here and a station here, and I also did something here in between this and this, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. But for now, as part of this goal, so I'm going to take one line and just drop it there. So you can see there's a bridge there. Bridge is expensive. You can see that it has its own little cost. So you want to kind of tweak it to see if you can get away from building a bridge, right? Earthworks is always cheaper than bridges. So you want to avoid bridges and tunnels. Tunnels are way more expensive than bridges. A 2% slope coming down is okay. Going up, it's going to go back empty because it's a freight line. So you should be fine, right? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double track this, right? Because we want multiple trains running and we don't want any bottlenecks. So I'm going to double track this and like that. And we'll put signals there in a minute. But what I'm also going to do is connect this line to the track as further down as possible so that you minimize disruption, right? So you connect it to this line. Again, if you tweak it, you might be able to get away from the 3%. Oh, this is 4, so you don't want that. All right, 3% again. It's downhill coming down, so it's perfectly fine. Empty trains can travel. So let's do this. Let's double track it like that. And connect it back. Now we'll put the signals. Right, like I said, I'm from the US, so it's traveling right side traffic, so right side trains will go up and left side trains will come down. Now it's not going to do it at a junction, so you'll have to take care of that yourself, but right side up, left side down. And then, oh sorry, one other thing I forgot to mention is if you want the signals to be automatically put in, you again hit the shift button and it'll do it automatically, and I'll show you here, right? So you can see here, if I hit the shift button, actually I hit the shift, no, control shift, I'm sorry. So yeah, multi-signal is control mode, I guess. Control, is that right? Control, yeah. Oh no, so I'm sorry, I like to do control and shift for the signal direction as well. So if you do control and shift, it'll put both there, right? All right, so I'll do the same thing here so that you can see right here, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit Control Shift, and I'm going to move the mouse button, roll the mouse center wheel so that it changes direction. Click once, and then do the same thing on the other track as well. So there you have it, right? Now we have to double track this one as well. The reason being, you're going to run multiple trains and you don't want any conflicts, right? Okay, so like that, and then you go signals, control shift, there we go. All right, so now let's get some trains going so that we can make some money, right? So here, and you'll learn about this later, but for now you can just make, so you can see North Platte is making beer, Norfolk is making beer, so you're transporting beer and meat here. You want to do the same thing because beer meat lines are the most lucrative lines, but you don't want to make it just beer meat. Freight is not between cities. You want to do automatic trains if you want both passengers and trains have to be passenger and mail or automatic. Automatic means they'll carry passenger, mail, and goods. If you do freight, freight is it's very iffy. You don't want just freight between cities because they might not like if you connect Norfolk and North Platte, you don't want a freight line running between the two because none of them needs beer, so they'll never carry beer between each other, right? So if you're going to run trains, you might as well run them automatic here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. So if you press shift and click on the city, it'll open up the menu which tells you how you want the train to run. If you don't want that, you can just click the train and it'll open up the link, or you can click edit station right here. Okay, so I want a train from Norfolk to North Platte, and I'm going to do automatic. Let's see, do we want that? Cheyenne. What does Cheyenne do? Cheyenne is also beer. Okay, yeah, we can do that, and then say okay, and then press the train. Now, once the train is selected, you can also do this, right? You can also clone the train, so it'll give you multiple trains on the same line. So I want to do 3 trains on this line. Okay. Now, this is North Platte beer. This is also beer, right? So there's no sense in having a freight between the two. So I would rather have from here to here. I would rather have passenger and mail only, right? And then say, let's do 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we want trains bringing goods from here to here as well. So we'll do 1 train each. We'll go cook chopping, shift. I want a maximum. I want it to wait for a full load, and then come over here, Cheyenne, and it's freight only, right? And then I'll add a locomotive, and then I'll have another one from here, shift, freight only, and then I'm going to click here. And then say okay. Oh, I don't have money. It's okay. I'm going to speed this up so that some of the trains will reach and generate some money. Okay. Now there's another way you can get money. I'll explain in a minute if it takes too long. All right. So let's do this. So if you go to the company tab, right, you have a picture of your entire company. Then you have the quarterly report, blah blah blah. Then you have your competitors. We don't have any yet, but they're coming. This is the value of your company. This is how much what shares you own in other companies, how long is your route length, and how many trains you have. If you go to the last one, you can take a bond, right? So you can take a bond, and that gives you some money, but you pay interest on it, and it gives you the length of the bond. The longer the bond, the more money you get, the higher the interest rate. But we'll take the most because we want the most money, right? So we'll take that, and then we can do 2 bonds. So let's take both because we want to have as much money as possible, right? So then we'll do add locomotive, finish that off.
Well
okay.
done. The
So there you
city will
go.
soon grow. You can
Now
see
you
how
have
well
some
it is
other-
being supplied at any time in the city dialogue. Basically, a city will grow once its demands are sufficiently met. I think you have learned enough. Complete the rest of your tasks.
Sorry about that. All right. So we have some tasks, right? So we finished these 2 tasks. Now we have, before 1866, we have to do 16 loads of cattle to Denver. Now, the trick with this game is, so Denver is right here, right? And this is beer and this is meat. So obviously a beer meat line is going to be very lucrative, right? So the first thing we need to do is to say, you know what, I'm going to put a station here, like this, right? And I'm going to connect this to Cheyenne because we already have a station in Cheyenne. Now, remember I told you adding a track is expensive, but that's okay. Unfortunately, we have no choice here, right? So we go here. So the second track is what we want. Actually, yeah, this is fine. So we'll just do the second. Oh, not here, not down. Okay, so we're going to add a second from the second track, the second platform rather. We'll just do a line from here, go down to Denver. It's a bridge, so we don't want that. So just play with it. 2% is perfectly fine. Yeah, perfectly fine. So we build that. We'll double track this. Right, we put our signals in. Now, I'm not putting any supply towers on any of my routes yet because supply towers cost money. Did I not put trains on this line? I guess I did not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, oh, I did put trains on this line. Okay, good. So I'm going to have a couple of trains go from Denver. They can go in automatic mode, go down here, add. I'm going to clone a couple of trains. Actually, let's do 3 trains. Okay, so you can see, so the ingredient for beer is what is this? Grain. So this is getting grain, right? However, Denver requires cattle for beef because then beef meat or to ship meat to Cheyenne, right? It needs to generate meat which comes from cattle, and one of the goals we have is to deliver 16 loads of cattle to Denver. So there's a cattle ranch right here, right? So we put a train station there. Now remember, expanding is more expensive, so I'm going to build another station. I'm going to angle it slightly this way or put it towards the outer edge, and then I'm going to go like this and connect it to this, right? It's doing some earthwork to get the boy. There we go. Okay. 65,000, fine. You can just see we paid some interest. Now there will be some, I'll explain in a minute. Let's do this. Okay. All right, so I didn't put any supply towers, even though it asked us to put supply tower in this line right here, because they are expensive and they slow down the trains, and we want to make as much money as possible in the beginning. So what I'm going to do is just replace the train when it's ready, right? We only have one engine, so replacing the train is not going to be that expensive on all of them, right? So first, let's set up this line, cattle ranch, shift. Okay, we don't need. We'll do freight only. Then we'll do one, and then we'll do another one. So we need 16 cattle to be delivered, 16 loads of cattle. Each train delivers 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So two trains is going to take care of it, right? Now there's a connection bonus. You'll see these stars come up once in a while, right? Connection bonuses for connecting certain things. But if you look at Denver, right? Denver doesn't need sugarcane, right? You can see it only activates when you have 30,000 citizens. So it makes no sense for us to connect this. Yet none of our cities are as big, right? So really I'm not going to bother. Now, the other thing I want to do is, you remember these lines? So you can see our locomotives are slower because of missing supplies, right? So the cheapest thing to do, I mean, we can put in supply towers. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not the end of the world, I think. I think this will be fine. The slower the train, the less revenue you get, right? So you want to make sure that the trains are in good shape. So I'm going to put another supply tower here to cover these 3 trains. And putting them on a signal reduces the number of stops. Otherwise, it'll stop at a signal and at the supply tower, right? So there's no sense in doing that. So I'm just going to put supply towers on these, wherever, on all my routes, right? So here, there's 2 tracks, so if I put it here, it'll cover both trains, right? So if I can, there we go. What's going on? Okay, there we go. So there, you can see a train stop there. All right, see, this grain is important for us, right? There's a connection bonus here, and we know Norfolk as well as North Platte, both of them need grain because they're both beer producers, right? So let's do 2 train stations, one to North Platte and one to...
Well done. The citizens of Denver are impressed by the railroad.
There we go. Right, now we need 16 loads of meat to Cheyenne, and Cheyenne is already getting meat from Denver, right? So that's why that task is well on its way, right? We are producing meat by connecting cattle, by bringing cattle here, and then the meat is getting transferred. And that's why we did a automatic line, because in an automatic line, not only does it carry passengers, but if there's meat to be carried, it can carry the meat as well. Okay, and you can see this is bringing back passengers as well as beer and mail, right? So that's a good thing for us. Later on, we'll probably become more specialized, right? So there's a connection bonus to Rapid City. We won't focus on that yet, but I want to get grain to these two cities and meat to this city from here. All right, so let's do this first. So let's connect. Okay, we're probably going to have to expand this train.
Yes, one more thing. Your company has also a research
And then-
department to help you unlock new locomotives and other innovations. Open the research dialogue to find out more about it.
Double track this. Okay. And then we will signals. Okay, set up 2 trains. Shift. Full cars. North Platte can go back empty. It's freight only. Okay. We'll add this, and then we'll do another one. And in the meantime, so this is another thing you can do. You can buy an estate if it makes sense for you. You know, we're short of money, so I'm not going to do that right now. But at some point when we have more money, if it's, you know, if you own beer and you own the grain, it's a very lucrative business, right? You're supplying both the raw material as well as the finished goods. So we also have the option of buying other things later, so we can do that too. Like you can buy an industry if you like. Again, we are not going to do that at this moment, but what I'm going to do is make a track and connect that there. All right, so that's good. We don't have enough money, so I'm going to speed it up, see if we can. There we go. All right, now we're going to need money for double tracking it as well. So, all right, so 68,000. Let's speed this up. And this is the thing with Trainiac mode, right? Is when you're building track
Cheyenne will
in
flourish thanks to you. And for each mile of track that we lay, we receive 10 square miles of land. The politicians have no idea of the value of the assets they're giving away, but that stays between us.
okay. So we need money to double track, right? But we also
Here you will
have
find the advances that can be achieved in the current era. Advances from previous eras are usually already active, but what the future holds, we do not know. For each advance, you require innovation points, which you get automatically each month, and which can be increased in various ways. Now, take a look around here, and then unlock an innovation of your choosing. How about a new locomotive?
all right. So in the innovation points, you get innovation points. 40 points per month, right? You have a 280 innovation points right now. So you can do trains and locomotives, or you can do company work, right? If you own industry, it makes sense to get creative accounting because you'll increase your profits in the factories, right? But we don't have that yet. So right now we only have, I mean, really our only obvious thing here is because we're doing so many freight and automatic lines, it makes sense to get a better locomotive, right? So we can do this. Now the only problem with doing that is now if you go to the engine shed, you have a
Opponents
dragon.
say I'm lining my own pockets. These are, of course, hideous lies. And look at it this way. With the profits I'm making, I can invest much more. Jobs, jobs, jobs.
I don't know how to turn these guys
I
off.
have to wrangle with a lot of
Oh,
competitors, but
good
if
God.
one person really gets on my nerves, then it's that Beatrix von Pomp. What? You haven't encountered her yet? Be glad. She takes everyone to the cleaners.
This guy never stops talking. Anyway, so you can see here. So if I go, I can create a train with this locomotive and I can replace all my locomotives. The problem with replacing all locomotives is if I do all of them, it's going to cost me 317,000. I have 17 trains. That's a lot of money, right? Now, if I go back to my previous locomotive, and people will try to get you to buy their stuff, so just ignore it for now. If I try to replace all my locomotives, only cost me 63,000 right now with with the same locomotive that I have right now, right? Now you can do that if the locomotive is badly damaged, and that will happen if you don't have maintenance sheds, like right here, right? So you can see here it says breakdown. This tells me that the locomotive, if you go to the managed train, you can see, right? This is deteriorating as you run it. So the worse it'll break down more often, the older it gets. So you want to, kind of fix that. So anyway, so I just connected these two.
Cheyenne is becoming a major railroad hub, and the credit is all ours.
Now, the way to grow a city is to give it the goods that it needs, right? Okay, so let me just do this. Okay, so I forgot to do the. Okay, freight only. Oh, okay. And then I go to Norfolk. I can leave that. Do add. Now, I'm still going to stick with the cheaper one for now. Right now, so what happened here is, okay, you see, it only took one, because what happened is when you change the type of traffic, like if I go here, let's say I make a train, right? So I go here and I make a train, set up a line. If I hit shift right now and I select 8, but then I hit OK, right, like this, and then I hit freight only, if I go back, you can see it's 0. So that's what happened, right? So my trains, who I told them to go full, are no longer full. So I'm going to cancel this. Right, let's see. Okay, and then I'm going to go here to this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to my train list. I'm going to go from Bishop Estate. Where's my Bishop's Estate? Okay, Bishop's Estate to, this is Norfolk, right? No, North Platte. Okay, so if I go to edit rail line, you can see they're all zeros now. So I have to fix that. North Platte, edit the line. Because otherwise it's going to run empty and it's going to cost us money. Okay, so I have a line here that seems like it's empty, and I can use this line for something else. Okay, anyway, so right now, so I think we got a connection bonus for this when we connected the first one, right? So what are the next tasks? We have 150,000 people. Okay, the way to grow a city is to give it the goods that it needs. Okay, we have a connection bonus for this cattle as well, which is awesome because we do want to connect it, right? So this is a slight problem. So I'm going to expand this track. Okay, unfortunately, I miscalculated. I should have brought the other track here, but I miscalculated. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the and just delete the track till here, and it's saying it cannot be reached. That's okay. We'll fix that in a minute. Okay, and I'm going to connect it to the second platform, because you can see this one is right here on this side, right? So it's going to cause a problem if I try to connect it. So there we go, and then we'll put our signals back. So you can see Control Shift, it'll fill in the gaps. Okay, that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small train station on this side here. Always face the buildings inward so that you can expand if you need to. Not that we were going to here, but it's always a good idea. Best practice. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. Alright, and then we'll double track this as well. Oops. Alright. Put our signals. And I believe we did get the bonus, right? So that's good. Set up a rail line. First select freight, then click the shift key. Okay, okay. Alright, locomotive. This is a short run, so this is perfectly fine. And then we'll do we're supplying to 2 places, so we'll do 3 cars, right? Let the industry grow. Okay, so this is complaining, so let's put a supply tower here. Alright, so you can see, alright, we looked at, okay, so you can see here, oh, what happened to this? There's a bug here. Raw material,
Do you know that many people call the vast stretch of land between the Mississippi and California the Great American Desert? Those fools. Once my railroad has opened everything up, the value of these lands will go through the roof.
Okay, bye-bye. Alright, it says connect Omaha, and so we've finished all the tasks ahead of schedule, which is awesome, right? Let's do connect Omaha to Rock Springs. We have till 1867 to do that. But our rail network is making money. You know, we are not hurting for money or anything. I mean, we could expand it, but we are not hurting for money. And this has a beer industry, this has a beer industry, we are giving it grain. This has cloth, which requires cotton. So we can potentially connect this to here if you wanted to. that will generate revenue. We did this in the beginning as part of the tutorial. I'm not even worried about this right now. I'm just ignoring this. Um, so these two, there's a train going across. We can expand that to 2 trains. Um, you know, um, no reason why. And in fact, we can even let this train pass, and I'll double track this as well. So we have this. We have double track this. We have a line running from here to here, which is good. You can see the trains are. Um, let's grow North Platte, right? So you can see this has, okay, this is requiring 1.6 capacity. It's actually getting it right now. I guess it's getting it over land. It only has 0.1 stored. So and it'll make us money, right? Because we are a train company, so it'll make us money by adding uh, more trains. So let's do this. So we have two lines, both are being used. So let's expand this track. This is 100,000 to get 2 additional tracks, and that's the most you can do, right? No more than 4. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the last one and connect that here. And let's, oh, come on. Okay, there we go. All right, that's fine. 75 grand. We'll make that money up. And okay, we need. Oh, whoa, hello. Why? Oh, it put a bridge. Why did it put a bridge? Okay. Sometimes it does that. You have to watch out. Sometimes you'll spend more money than you need to because the stupid game decided to do something on its own. Okay, down. Let's put let's put a supply tower. Train, cotton. Oh, freight 8. Okay, add locomotive. And then 2 trains right there. That's good. Okay, so you can see Cheyenne grew, right? Cheyenne grew because we gave it beer, right? We gave it meat to its beer, right? And then we gave it logs. So Cheyenne needs logs, meat. It has its own beer. It requires corn, and it will grow even faster. We didn't supply it corn, but we gave it everything else. It has grain and everything else, right? So it's going to grow. Now you can see it has more demand. It's asking for cloth, and cloth is actually available here, which now we supplied cotton to. So now this is going to deliver cloth, right? Oh, no. Actually, because we put a passenger mail line on here. So it's not going to deliver cloth, but that's okay. We don't. It's a beginning mission. We don't need to grow anything. This is perfectly fine, right? If we want, we can put our own industry here. We could change these trains to automatic and actually make a tailoring industry here, right? Although we can't really do it yet because we don't have the money, I guess, or we are not high enough level to do it. So let the AI will put its own industry there, so it's not a big deal, right? So this one has. This has breweries. Okay, North Platte requires, again, North Platte is getting a lot of what it needs, so that's not an issue. It needs logs, but again, without logs, it's growing just fine. So you can see here, the up arrow indicates that the population is growing, right? So here we have, Omaha is not growing because it's only getting cattle, it's getting corn, it's getting beer and meat, but if you give it one more of these items, it'll grow. But, again, we don't need to, right? We can if we want to, but we want to accomplish our goal. So we want to connect Omaha to Rock Springs. All right, so Omaha to Rock Springs. Where's Omaha? All right, so like I said before, this is Omaha. You don't need to have a direct connection to Rock Springs, although it would be okay to do that. Yeah, it would be okay to do that. All right, so what I'm going to do now is forward thinking is Omaha to Rock Springs, and then we want to Cheyenne to Rock Springs. Okay, where is Cheyenne? Okay, Cheyenne to Rock Springs. That's not a big deal. Okay, so we need to connect Omaha to Rock Springs. Again, as long as you connect it to the network, it's perfectly fine, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the station, and then from the second track, we are going to run a line through the mountains, or through the hills rather. You got to be careful so that your speed is not impacted, right? Because it's going to be a passenger line. Why? Because the goal says you have to connect take 100 passengers, and I'll show you the goal in a minute. So if you look at the goal, it says transport 100 passengers from Cheyenne to Rock Springs without stopping. What that means is they want a direct line from Cheyenne to Rock Springs with no other stations in between, right? So that's the last goal. Now, if you connect this, we'll check the box. We are 3 years ahead, so we should be easy. This should be easy for us to get the check mark. So I'm going to make a station here, like that, and then connect these to here. So with this, we've accomplished
Now you've managed to cross the
that
Great
goal,
Plains.
right?
A
Now,
masterpiece.
although I am going to double track this because we do want to take multiple trains with multiple passengers. So let's do, okay, so I'm going to double track this as well. Okay. Put signals on. This is pretty long track. This is a pretty long track, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple of supply towers just to be safe. One, and maybe one over here. And then we'll run, now, before we do that, okay. So we have innovation points, right? So let's unlock express trains. What that gives you is more passengers, right? Express gives you number of passengers increases by 8%. And then we need this train because it's an express train, right? Now we can do that by getting, we need three of these unlocked before we can get the express trains. So I'm just going to unlock the caboose because it's the cheapest option. Not that we're going to use it, but then I'm going to unlock the Rensselaer, right? So now I'm just going to set up a rail line from Cheyenne. Now Cheyenne is connected to this station, so you want to be careful to select Cheyenne 1. If you select Cheyenne 2, you won't be able to get a line to Cheyenne to Rock Springs because this line is connected to Cheyenne 1, right? So go here. I want passenger and mail only because, like I said, the goal says 100 passengers, right? So we want to, okay, new rail line, set up rail line from Cheyenne 1 to Rock Springs. We want passenger and mail. We want to add locomotive. Let's add the Rensselaer because it's the fastest one. And it's going to go. Now, don't worry about only one case. This doesn't mean, this is 8 cars, right? So you have 1 car full of passengers. So that'll be fine. So we'll just add, I'm going to add 4, 5, 6 cars. Because on the way back, it'll carry passengers and mail, and it's also going to give you money, right? So it's going to generate revenue for you. So let's just let it activate by itself, and let's speed up time a little bit. Now you'll keep making money. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to add a supply tower here. You'll keep making money. So at some point you can add maintenance buildings and whatever you want, and we'll do that in the next missions. For the first mission, it's not a big deal to get this done. So I'm not even going to worry about the other things. Okay. Oh, and I just realized we don't have competition because we are not at that stage yet. I think this is a practice mission. I think that's why it's... Alright, breakdown. Okay, it's breaking, more and more stuff is breaking down. But again, we are so close to the end that I really don't want to... operating supplies, there's one, this thing doesn't have an operating supply. So I'm going to put a supply tower right over here. Not a big deal. So let's see. How many? We already took 32 out of the 100 that we need, right? So it should be pretty easy. So, and we have, let's see, we have trains coming back. Okay, so this one, come on. Okay, I'm going to slow it down just a tad. So this has a car with mail, 2 cars with mail and 1 car with passengers. So, you know, the number can be misleading. When you say 100, you don't think that you have to do 100 individual passengers. It's a car. It's by the car load, so it's always going to be a lot more than you think. All right. So let's see. So if I select that line, so there's 6 of them, right? We already hit express. So look at the revenue that we're making, right? 1,500, 2,700, 6,000 the first train. That's awesome. So this one is making, so we are, per trip, even though it's not a full car load, we are making 1,100, 1,300, 1,500 bucks. If it's a full car load, you'll make a lot more money than that. So if you look at this one, see, these are making a lot more money for you, because even though they're not just passenger lines, they are, but they're running full loads, right? So it'll make more money for you. So we can do more expansion things, but I'm not going to at this point. I'm just going to wait till the next mission, right? So we are almost there. I think we are on 57, not a big deal. Let's look at what other innovations we have. Okay, so it says reduces maintenance requirements for locomotive by 10%. Let's just select that. I mean, I know we are close to the end, but still. So we have a train going in, right? This thing has a car, so this number should go up. We're at 62 right now. If you wait till the passengers disembark, all right, that should give you more. 67. See, I think it's a car is 5, right? So for 100 passengers, you only need about 20 cars of passengers to reach Rock Springs. So should be okay. Now we have plenty of money, so it's not a big deal for us to add maintenance, right? We can do that, and you can see here this train will get maintained, being unloaded, and then you can see it'll say being serviced, right? Service means it's getting serviced by the maintenance building. So yeah, every train is making money, so some more than others, but that's okay. All right, let's speed it up. We should be at, okay, we're at 73. We should be fine. I mean, if you grow the cities a lot, then you'll get, I mean, Rock Springs is a really tiny city, right? So there's not that much. I mean, if you grow the cities, you'll get more passengers automatically, right? By definition. But, I'm not going to. I don't think it's necessary at this point. We're so close to the end that it's not worth it. I will put a maintenance building here because there's so many breakdowns on this line. Okay, there we go. North Platte to Cheyenne. Look at that. That's a full train right there. This thing will make us a ton of money.
Progress is
There we go.
enormous. The Far West is no longer so far away anymore, and the people are slowly realizing that trade helps create prospering cities. We still have a long way to go, but the Transcontinental Railroad is coming.
All right. So again, I'm almost positive that we got a perfect score on this. So let's see.
In spite of all the
And if you do the hard modes, you do get a bonus, right? So that helps with the rating as well.
the endless expanses of the Great Plains and conquer the merciless slopes of the Rocky Mountains. The Central Pacific Railroad approached from the west, but the winter of 1868 brought all work to a standstill. The two lines lay just a few hundred miles across from each other, in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. The dream of the first transcontinental railroad seemed to be within touching distance, but was buried by house-high masses of snow and blown away by icy snowstorms, a dream that had begun almost 4 decades before.
All right, guys, we should be good here. There we go. We got a president's score. I mean, like I said, it's really, so this is where you get pause mode rating, right? This is when you play Trainiac, you get an extra bonus. That helps. Map rating is 1.5. Difficulty is pretty easy mission. Time rating is 20 out of 20. Competitors 1.0. We are the only competitor, right? So we got a perfect score on this. But again, the missions get much harder as we go along. And like I said, I'm no expert, but I'm going to give this a shot and see how far it takes us, right? All right. Thank you so much for watching. I will try to do the second mission as soon as I can and try to upload this. But in the meantime, enjoy the first mission, and I will see you guys next time. If you don't mind, please try to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm brand new at this, so Again, forgive me for any mistakes, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Have a good one.